Perfect. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Borough Green Tree Council Workshop Meeting for Monday, August 10th, 2026. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tina, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Allen?
Here.
Ms. Caskey?
Here.
Ms. Godovic? Ms. Martorella?
Here.
Mr. Panza?
Here.
Ms. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Mayor Shank?
Present. Okay, before we get into the discussion of the Deacon and Hemlock Baseball Field at Green Tree Park, I'll open it up for public comments. Anything that... Okay. Here we have no public comment, so Mr. Panza, I will hand it off to you for the discussion of the ball fields.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone attending this workshop meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to come to a resolution of what we should do with our two baseball fields, Hemlock 1 and Hemlock 2. For years and years, volunteers have been maintaining those fields, of course, with the help of Public Works. And it is getting harder and harder to maintain the fields, and the scheduling of the games is so intense that finally we need to come to a solution to make the fields better for all of us so that our kids can enjoy continuing playing baseball. We have been very meticulous in maintaining and paving our roads, where our roads are in such great shape. So why not treat our baseball fields the same? It is about time that we take our time and come up with a plan, so by next year, hopefully, our kids are playing on a turf field where they're not worrying about getting there an hour before a game and working to maintain it. So how can we do this? Let's figure it out and get this accomplished tonight.
Okay. So because this is a workshop meeting, we can have open discussion. So members of the audience, if you want to have a discussion, let the record note that Ms. Godovic here. We don't have to, actually, we should probably go up to the podium. And
yeah,
for
like the record.
For the record. Okay. Mr. Panza, do you have any supporting evidence or data that you want to share with us to help frame the conversation?
Yes. There was originally there were three options. Option number one would be to have come in, regrade the field, add additional dirt, and make the fields well again with the dirt using the same method that we have used in the past. The cost for both fields would be $60,000. However, we've tried this several times, and it may work for about 6 months, and we're back to the same situation of problems with drainage. The field's not in good shape. So option number two would be to replace both fields entirely with turf. That would cost $1.2 million, which, I mean, I wish we had an extra couple $1 million laying around, but that, well, wait, no, come to think of it, we do have millions of dollars laying around in that bond issue, but that's beside the point. Option three would be to just replace both infields for about $200-some thousand. I talked with the GAA. They thought this was the best plan. I would love to hear if they have any additional comments. However, if we replace both infields with turf, That should be good for years to come. It's like an investment in our infrastructure. And as I said before, we have no qualms about paving a road for $200,000. You know, we could this one year take maybe one less road, get our fields in great shape. And it would be for the betterment of the entire community.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we have to give up paving roads to turf the ball field. We can certainly look at ways to budget for both. You said one, I just want to confirm, you said 1.2 million to replace both fields entirely, so that means the outfield and the infield.
Yes,
and then
yes, this also includes like improvements to this also is a price for the drainage and everything. Unlike when we've had discussions with Point Park where there was separate, like they were talking about turfing and draining. This is an entire package for,
Okay.
1.2 or 200,000.
so you said two. So you said
like
200,000.
that includes everything.
So
252,000 was the lowest bid for. I mean, so far, I mean, we might decide to go out and get.
I don't think we put it out to bid yet, have we?
No.
Estimates? Do you mean estimates, not necessarily random?
Informal is, yes,
And how many?
yes, I do.
How many,
Yes.
How many bids did we did? How many estimates did we get for replacing both fields?
We've had 2 estimates so far.
For each?
We've had estimates from AstroTurf and I think it's Real Turf. And the lowest estimates were were replacing both fields for approximately $240,000, $50,000. I don't have them in front of me. I would ask Ms. Martorella if she does have the actual bids in front of her.
Okay, they're just handed to me. Their estimates.
It's force also.
Mr. Martorella, would you like to come to the podium, please?
So the estimates from AstroTurf were for the infield only. That was 252,000 up to 280,000, depending on the thickness of the turf, and that was for both infields. The other estimate for turf for the infield was roughly about 212 each, which then included the drainage and all of the other extra items. I do not believe that covers the fencing for the backstop. Those would both still have to be removed, and the fences along the dugouts would still have to be replaced as well. The Dura Edge estimate is basically the MLB product of rock, red brick, and the modern dirt fields that are being used. The issue that, Mr. Payne's already expressed is that we've seen our local boroughs do this. Dormont basically spent $18,000 on this dirt. They came in, they fielded it, they put it out there, their whole infield. It was gone in 60 days because they didn't address the drainage issues. Then they had to basically buy the dirt again and put it back on top of everything and another 5 tons. So, there's 3 different there, but the 2 turf ones are, again, 250 to 270 for both infields. And then the other one was 212 each for the infields. The AstroTurf company is the company that Point Park is using for their estimates as well.
Did you say each or?
212 each is the one
If they do the drainage.
infield with the drainage. AstroTurf's estimate was 280 for both. And I believe there's going to be some type of drainage issue. All of these modern products that when people are doing this now, you basically grade the field to lean into the outfield. So the water naturally drains away from home like it is now, and it goes into the grass areas. So that it actually, it's leveled so that 1 inch drop. And it goes into the grass areas. And that would be for all three products. All three companies do that same, that's like modern, just drainage goes into the outfield now where the grass is. And that's kind of how you do it. With the turf, you would use maybe some rollers. And you could just roll it off, but the dirt stuff, it's designed to roll into the outfield.
A couple questions. Do you think that we would need independent testing before the turf people come in, even though the turf people would do drainage?
Yeah, I'm not an engineer, I don't know, I can't.
Just how much, what, maybe?
The thing is, right now, once they would do that, with the grading, you don't have to worry about drainage. It's naturally going to be graded into the outfield. So you're talking about where the water, instead of taking all the dirt and removing it and creating the undulation, so to speak, at certain areas on the field, that water naturally would just go into the outfield anyway where the grass is, and it's gonna soak it up.
Yeah, I mean, could that outfield become a swamp?
Well, not at Hemlock too, because we addressed those.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I already thought about that, that's Hemlock 2 is no problem there, Hemlock 1, I mean, obviously, I think that you're gonna get a little bit of a mud spot behind the infield. But those aren't natural areas to where a lot of foot traffic happens. As far as specifically to softball, baseball, and then that wouldn't necessarily become an issue moving forward.
Okay, next question.
Wait, Mr. Wilson has it.
Yes, I
Regarding drainage, I did have a discussion with the engineers. The amount of, excuse me, underground installation that has to go for turf. Basically any synthetic field is significantly more than obviously you would do for a regular plain dirt skinned infield. There still will need to be some drainage improvement, no matter what you do. Whether you maintain the type of fields we have now, or whether you do improvements with turf. The thing with turf, we'll have to excavate down farther. That has both a positive impact on some of the drainage issues, in that part of that is developed to retain more water and let it dissipate over time. Which is good for us because that slows kind of the roll down to the retainage pond that was put in for Hemlock. The other is, if it does create runoff into the other part of the field, you probably want to address some of that to get some of that runoff going somewhere. So it didn't turn into kind of a deluge in some areas of the field. So it does have to be looked at. You probably would not need to do any borings, because you're not going to excavate that far, but you definitely would want the entire field to really be viewed from where is the water going and where are we going to put it, regardless of whether you're going to keep the kind that you have or go with turf. It's just turf may be a little more intense as to what will need to be done, depending on the actual environment that's there. I know they gave estimates, and they are estimates, because they don't know what's under the ground there either that has to be done. And so that's where the engineers would be able to step in and design plans that would be something people could bid on with confidence against each other to know X, Y, and Z, we believe definitely has to be done.
That was going to be my next question. How much can the turf company do as compared to somebody else do in regard to the drainage? Could the turf company do all the needed drainage?
It depends on what they were capable of bidding and accomplishing themselves, or subbing out as part of their bid process.
Okay, but it'd all be one bid. They might need subcontractors depending upon the
It could be,
criteria.
yes. The council could choose to do it all as one and enable subcontracting to take place. Yes.
So to be two more points in the mouth. You own the floor. Most likely, realistically, it's gonna cost up to 200, my guess is 250,000 apiece. So I think we should just ditch that 250,000 total. I think it's gonna take, and I'm for it. I think it's gonna take realistically, we use that 212, but once we get into this drainage, I think we're gonna be lucky for 250 of fill. So I think we have to get our mindset for 500,000 or more. The second thing would be, once we do the infill, we turf the infill, say 3 years from now, or 5 years, could we decide to turf the outfields? Would that be a problem? Could you blend in the infill with turfing the outfield at a later date?
I think we've seen locally is that all little leagues that are doing this now, no one's doing that. No one wants anything to do with turfing the outfields.
Okay,
South Fayette just put in 2 brand new fields, brand new turf, brand new fences, all that stuff. You know what they screwed up? They forgot to water and seed the outfield. They can't use their fields now for the next couple of months. They actually literally have to grow the grass now. And they didn't do it properly. We were just there. The other fields that we've seen in McKees Rocks, that was Pirates Charities. And they just did the infields only. It's pretty much a dominant source unless you're one of these places that host tournaments year round. I just drove past Cedar Point's complex in Sandusky, and a lot of the travel teams go up there. They have full turf fields, but they only have like 1 or 2 out of 8. And then the rest are infield only, grass outfield, warning track rock.
so we're not cutting any corners, the council won't be cutting any corners, but just doing the infill.
No,
That's,
it's actually a more
Way to
fiscal
go.
responsible way to go in doing it, and it's pretty much the standard from what I've seen from our locals. Collier's in the process of putting in 4 or 5 fields near their borough building up by Nike site. They're doing, I think, infield only. I don't believe that's the case. And like I said, I just saw South Bay, it's 2 brand new ones. Turf only infield, grass outfield, and warning track rock. And Mount Lebanon does have one as well. They line their field with the red rock around the turf. So that's where the drainage comes into play. So it's not necessarily like the turf covers everything, but it covers with a playing surface. And then the outlier around it is then, to your point, with the engineering, the drainage system in place. Because there's a lot new, I guess, rock, clay, red brick material that they use that soaks up water, or I guess, what's the word, permeable, without creating a water table. So in that sense, that's the, again, a new modern way to look at it.
thank you.
We have 2 members of the planning commission here. Has the planning commission reviewed this plan yet?
I wasn't saying anything.
Okay.
All I know is, based on what happens with Point Park, if the athletics of Green Tree are able to access that, there was the start of a discussion of, do we have too many baseball fields at Green Tree Park? Are we gonna convert one of those fields into something else someday? Basketball court, pickleball court, whatever. But that is, a 10-year time scale, not an immediate, what are we doing about maintenance of these fields?
And to that point as well, that would be something to look into. Obviously, if we do move forward with Point Park, and I know I've been asked and I've given my information about this in regards to our high school team playing there with, respect to them doing fields and stuff like that. But we could look into whatever company they're doing. That obviously might give us a discount moving forward if they have if they're gonna do the whole turf field there. And we can use the same company to do the same things as our fields, there may be a process or opportunity to get a discount as far as doing all 3 at the same time. It seems logical, but it could be expensive as well.
Thanks, CJ. Gina, just let the record reflect, Jesse Robinson noticed the planning commission said that planning commission hasn't reviewed this yet. Something they will take into consideration. And also, Mr. Panza, so Ms. Martelis gave me the quotes that we received, and I think I'm trying to make sense of them here. I think we have to correct the record. Mr. Panza said Real Turf. I think the name of the company is Force Turf. and the other company is AstroTurf that gave us the estimates. And so we have 4 estimates from Forster. One for 662,000, the other for 667,000. I believe those would be for the entire field. So that's where we're getting the 1.2 million-ish. Then I also believe Mr. Panza said that to replace both fields would be 252,000. But it looks like based on the estimates, it's about 212 per field. Is that right?
No, the one company, it's like 212 per field. But the other company, I spoke with the person who gave the estimate, he told me that is the complete price for both fields.
So AstroTurf is 262,000. Their estimate says soccer field for 17.
True, but I clarified that would be for both the entire infields, the entire price.
Well, and then it also says annual maintenance program includes 1 maintenance visit per year for 8 years for all 3 fields. So I think,
It was a little goofy. That's why Ron, when I first gave him that, we both identified all those like kind of quirks to that point. The quote came from Dan and I, and Dan Visser is the head of the soccer, he's our soccer commissioner. So when he put that in there, it was like, I think he just confused the thought process. We had both Little League fields measured and surveyed via height and fall off. They came and actually used, survey machines and went out 6 feet, did all that stuff. So that AstroTurf is, yes, we actually double confirmed that. That was both infields for Hemlock 1 and Hemlock 2, and that's infields only. And yes, it's 260, 280. It depends on the thickness of the turf you use. And that being said, that's the company that did Pitt University's full turf field. They did West Virginia University's full turf field. I believe they're on the hook or was asked about quoting for the Point Park project. And they're the ones doing the Collier field as well.
okay,
So I didn't just call some random company. I kind of did some research to make sure like, hey, they've done some work. I can look at what the work they have done and go that route. But yes, there are some quirks in there. And then we did verbally via a phone call confirm all of that information.
okay. And so you're referring to the thickness of the material that could
Yes,
change the
the
price.
262 can go up to 280.
Okay.
It's like 18 more to go from like a 42 millimeter or 42 something to a
42 ounce.
50. Yeah, you see that? I just don't have the picture.
Yeah.
You follow where I'm going with
I
that?
got you. Yeah, and then for the forced turf, is it the same? Yeah, 2 inches. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking apples to apples here. Pretty much. And did they give any indication how long?
The AstroTurf said 1 month. The full month. It is ready to go. It's not like a waiting period. That month included construction, the accessibility to get, them there. Again, that was verbal. The guy that I spoke with is, the regional sales director, you know what I mean? Like he's giving out quotes to everyone and all that stuff. Like I said, Collier and I don't know who did South Fairfields. That was actually gonna be my next research project to find out who actually did their fields and see if we could get the cost associated with what they did just for the infields only and what product they used as well, because that's the only other place that I know they're doing new. Going to Mount Lebanon, they have that full turf field that it's just all turf. And it's, you know what I mean? They actually have a turf outfield with a dirt infield, which I don't get that's what they do. So I couldn't use that to compare or do any like correlation or, get any prices off that.
Do you know if we have to buy any additional equipment, maintain the turf field?
I think you just gotta get the rollers for the turf when it rains, it's super like saturated and you just rolls off. But for a new product like that, it's designed to take on all these thunderstorms and be playable within. I mean, I'm saying minutes rather than hours.
Yeah, I mean like the ongoing long-term maintenance.
No, there's not like, it's not like that rubber pellet stuff you have to keep buying, that's what's in there, that's their warranty, and that what goes, and they do the follow-ups. That was actually in there.
Yeah.
Anything else besides that, no, you're going back to like bases, you might have to buy some bases annually, Besides that, no, it's like a zero maintenance issue, that's kind of the whole thing, if you buy it with them, they give you the warranty. You may want to extend the warranty with them and they will come annually on that aspect, but like that's their deal for the first, I think. It was 8 or yeah, something like that, so again, I don't have it in front of you, you got all the information I got. And to just point out, when me and Ron were confirming all those like little quirks, that was just the other things that we had to identify.
I emailed Force today to ask them to timeline, they told me 6 weeks, so that's for them, that was.
Before you leave, life expectancy, from your knowledge,
His words were 20 to 30, depending on how much you play on it. Being that we only use it for, if you're talking about using both fields, you understand you're dividing it up. If we only did one, then the heavy play would be dominated on that one field, because then the other dirt field would then. It takes days to get these fields ready. With these turf fields, you're talking, like I said, a half hour to an hour. Like you'll have a thunderstorm at 8 AM. I've seen tournaments at McKees Rocks basically start their games at 9. They're like, hey, we're good to go. Roll it off, get it going, and it's not a injury hazard to said players as well. But the timeline, I believe, is like 20 to 30 years, based on how much you're playing on. If we're on it every day, all day, you're in the lower time frame. If you're spacing that out, and we're not gonna use them during the winter, when the snow's covered on top of it and stuff like that, that might be the other piece of product that you would have to buy. If you wanna use it during the winter, you have to get the shovels that have like the ice shovels. Like to clean the ice and stuff like that, those big flat ones, but that's the only other aspect that came up.
Excuse me, CJ,
Yeah,
I'm coming remote. I know we talked about this before when we were discussing Point Park, and planning commission, we talked about fields. As far as the pitching mounds, I know there are different distances, softball, baseball, is this gonna be movable? What is the?
they're portable, so you basically go to a straight portable product, and that's the other benefit of this. The 10U and 12U girls, 15U girls, they pitch fast pitch, and because Hemlock 1 is a dirt mound, they don't have it inhibits them to use that field properly. They have to use Hemlock 2 more often than not, because there's a flat mound. This year, we did just actually get rid of the dirt mound at Aiken 2, and that was in working with Keystone Oak School District. They bought a portable mound that is now being housed in our shed down at Aiken 2. It comes on a trolley, so to speak. They come in 2-3 pieces, and yes, that's an additional cost, but you're talking like $2,000, $3,000, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so basically anyone could use it up to that point, and that mound would just be easily moved by, it maybe take 1 or 2 people. I've seen one person do the mound, it's a pain in the butt. It typically is a 2-person job, just grabbing the 2 pieces and putting them in the proper areas.
Quick question, what month would be ideal for this park to be done? Just so we have an idea.
So we have a spring season and we have a fall season.
Yeah.
And our all-star tournament is, that's something I got. Keystone School District is going to be replacing that shed in the parking lot next to Aiken. I was just talking about this during football practice with the superintendent, Joe Kubiak. So this is something that's on the board for all of us. They're gonna be doing that. I don't know what it's called. It's a shed, that house that's down there that looks like it's dilapidated and it's just running out with gases or something, right? That's coming up. They're fixing that next year. It's on the books and they don't want to mess with our all-star. So back to your question. Spring baseball and softball start. I mean, we don't like letting people, so this is the weird part. We don't like letting people on the dirt field until April 1st. You want to let it thaw out. You don't want to tear it up in the mud. You make them stick to the outfield and stuff like that. That season goes from April first roughly to the first, second week of June, if teams make the playoffs. Playoffs is usually the first 2 weeks of June. Our All-Star tournament is 1 week long, it's the second week of July typically. And then fall ball starts roughly September first and goes to October 31st. So you're basically talking about late July, August would be. As far as. Even when you get the estimates, if they wanna do it during the winter, and it's cheaper. Guess what, let them. But if that, you're talking about not interfering and doing it during the summer. You're looking at late July, August, and then if we even have to move our games to be away in early September. It gives us the opportunity ahead of time to actually make those adjustments and just fix the schedules accordingly.
I guess we'll just have to figure out what their schedule looks like.
How late in the fall did you say? I didn't get that.
If someone's playing fall ball games after Halloween, they're obnoxious.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call them out for that. In my notes, it's October 15th and I'm done. Cause like, that's even when Pee Wee football stops. I'm like, if football's not playing, we shouldn't be playing baseball and softball. And it's just honestly, if you get a hot October, great. You get a couple late days in October, awesome, but the fall season should be roughly October 15th, October 21st.
There's no playoffs or anything in fall, just, there's no way to, we don't extend it, there's no tournament.
Yeah, it's more like a moving up period. It's a developmental time for kids to move up to the next level. So going from coach pitch to kid pitch, going from learning the rules to the new areas, like going from little league to pony, and then using, I'm not gonna lie, Wilson and he could do. So different stuff.
I think Mr. Garrison wants.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, we would, if one of these plans, Pete Garrett's another one at 1163 Trainer Avenue. If one of these plans were to be considered, it would be feasible, we would certainly sacrifice a fall season, not for the kids, we would find other fields to use, we would go to other communities for those games. But certainly if the community and the council was going to, move forward with something like this, the fall would be ideal. You get through that spring season where registration numbers are high, the community's out and about. Get through the All-Star tournament, which is always a success, and then we would be happy to make whatever plans we need to make to have the fields work on through the whole fall. The fall is it's an extra season, and the other communities would be more than happy to help us out, give us fields, and we have a that we practice on, things like that, so. That would never be something I think that would inhibit the progress of a project like this.
Hey, while we have you out there, thanks for that. What about Wilson Field? What's the addition of that? And what kind of use does Wilson get as a baseball?
I think Wilson, doesn't get much at all. We do use it for T-ball a little bit. It's not in awful condition, but it's like any of our open fields, after the rain, depending on, who was up there, kids riding their bikes through or whatever. But, if that was a field that we were to shift to like a priority, we have equipment up there, we would start doing the same work that we do for Hemlock 1 and Hemlock 2 up there and make it more useful.
I'm wondering, this has come up in the past, should we merge Wilson to soccer only, just make the grass, turf grass the infield?
It's highly dependent on the park project. Bacon 2 was awful as far as the dirt goes. Working with Wilson right now, the planning team just starting to use it. I'm basically either going to start using it next spring for the planning team. And that is only one team. However, Aiken 2 is very hard to work on compared to where Wilson is easier. And the volunteer that does the time and the hours and the effort, I know how to get all those correct. I literally just went up and painted all the lines. We have 9 bases up there, 65, 80, and 90. We got the mound is still fine, it works fine, just needs a little bit of like half hour of TLC. The drainage there is excellent since that new drain got put in along the third base line. And literally it's just an unused resource, whereas we should actually start doing it, but to your point, if we got the Point Park project done, and it's a turf field, Tony, Colt, high school, we're going on that field, and then that becomes this is just sitting here not being used.
Well, I thought the reason why we stopped using Wilson as baseball field because ball is going in. And with the Trip West bats now, like they're just jacking home runs left and right.
That season doesn't interfere with the point.
that season would be over before the pool would open. Same, you're talking Memorial, it's open, like they're done already.
You're talking high school season.
Yeah, the whole high school and pony goes into June a little bit, but you're talking, yes, like, and then, well, the trees grew now, I mean, someone would have to hit them. That's a ball, for a 13 or 14-year-old, like, they ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You would go, but you up to 15, 16, 17-year-olds on there, like the high school team, then that becomes a reality, but no 14, 15-year-olds put a ball over that fence and up.
Thanks.
We appreciate the opportunity to even explore this.
We appreciate all the time you guys put aside this and you're passionate about it. Thank you. I'm just wondering if this is something that should, Ms. Schwartz, that should go to the planning commission for review. Not sure if it falls into their purview or not, but that's something that we might want to take under consideration, just to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we had this initial discussions regarding the Point Park field, these fields came up. The reconfiguration thoughts of, depending on what happens with the Point Park field, and even with these fields, there's a lot of space that we don't utilize in the best way sometimes. We have a lot of fields that aren't as used as much as the two that we're talking about. And it's something planning commission has said, is there a different way to utilize that center space of that park to be more beneficial? So, yeah, I mean, I think planning commission should take a look at this. I think knowing exactly what we want to do will help them then look at the use versus the use purpose. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we have to be a little further along in the process before they can start to do other things.
Right, not to delay it too long though. Right, I mean, if.
No, I think it'd be great, like, I think we need to get to a point, I mean, hopefully we'll have some understanding with Point Park soon. Cause I think that is definitely one of the things we talked about was really to make any plans so we know what's happening with that space. Because that being used by the Pony League and the high school and things like that, it changes a lot of the needs. And so until we have that piece of the puzzle, it's kind of hard to put the rest together.
Yeah, I don't think the Point Park potential project is related to the Hemlock Fields. I think they're independent projects. I mean, Point Park could be related to Aiken somewhat, but I think Hemlock could proceed with that no matter where the Point Park stands.
I agree, this is something
I think it's more the use of the other fields.
Well, wouldn't have anything to do with Panama.
Our community exclusively uses Hemlock 1 and Hemlock 2, and I think that should be a higher priority right now for this council to consider while we wait for Point Park, but I don't think one should be dependent on the other, as we are in need of repair and restructure of these fields as soon as possible.
Agreed.
Jesse Robinson, Evans, 24 Leon Road, also with planning commission. My only comments on all this was, I'm not sure, I'm not as involved, I don't know which fields Aiken 1 and 2 and Hemlock, I don't know where those fields are, I haven't seen a map or constructor drawings of any of this. I was just advocating for not putting turf in, if that was something that we were imminently considering doing something else with, contingent on Point Park. If Hemlock is off to the side of that, then yeah.
Hemlock 1 and 2 are the front fields. So
My closest to the parking lot, right?
we're closer to the street, so
Okay.
when you're going down Breach Road, that first field is Hemlock 1,
Got
the field behind that next to the hockey rink is Hemlock 2.
Okay, yeah,
And again, 1 and 2 are down.
closer to the street, in between point, okay, so, yeah, I mean, the planning commission is doing anything, it's. Hey, if we could put a new sport thing here,
Okay.
what would the community want? So a year from now or 2 years from now, we've asked people what they want, they answered, we can build pickleball or basketball or whatever people, Planning commission does, if you guys wanna repair these fields, you guys do not need planning commission's input on that.
Okay. Alright.
It's a baseball field now, it's gonna be a baseball field later, like that's just.
I just wanted to make sure
That's all I had to say.
that we weren't leaving planning commission out. So is this something that would be, Mr. Wilson, would this be in this year's budget or would it be in next year's budget?
It would at this point have to be in next year's budget, but the planning for it could definitely start now. For what you wanted to do moving forward, I do think at this point, for the as Mr. Panza said, 3 different options that there are available. To take the estimates that we have here, which are really useful to create a budget. But not useful if we want people to figure out how much you just put in as an estimate when we go to bid. So those individuals have now kind of shown their hands as to what they would charge. So if you were a competitor, you now know that these different companies,
So what you're saying is they probably should have read this on.
not the first time they've been stated publicly.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay, so it's.
But-
It's wrong. Okay.
But we really want to have an understanding that, you know, turf wise, that's what we're into it for. Get some more information from the engineers when it looks at the other improvements that need to do with underneath the turf. So we have a kind of ballpark figure, budget figure for how much for the 2 fields improvements would cost. So that during the budget season, you can make that determination, but that doesn't mean that you can't start planning that right now. You just have to come up with it in the budget where you're going to put that money in allocation.
But if it's not budgeted until next year, I mean, it won't get done until 2028. Maybe this is not a good way to budget, but could we?
What would get done in the fall of 27?
Well,
It's great.
hold up, if it's not in this year's budget,
It's not in 26's budget.
yeah, that means we can't do it in 27. You didn't budget the money.
No, you can do it in 27 if you budget them. In the fall, you'll do the 27 budget.
Yeah.
So if you adopt the 27 budget in the fall and have the money to do this as part of that budget, then it would take place in 27.
Anything budgeted for 27 can happen in 27.
Yeah, okay, but don't we do the budget in November? It's when we.
You'll do it in
2027.
October, November, so
26.
for 27.
So we'll be okay to do it for 27.
You're off.
I'm confused. We're in 2026, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you did the 26 budget last fall. We're spending that money now.
okay,
So when you do the 27 budget, we'll spend it in 27.
okay,
we-
so we can put it in. Okay,
We can put it in 27.
what I'm calling this year's budget is 2027, because that's when we pass it, that's where I'm getting confused. Okay.
We have to be 27 budget. Yeah. So could, CJ, could we potentially do it, or Pete, could we do it in the spring of 27? And I guess the way they say this would be.
We're doing it, we can adjust. Our seasons, we could use, like, so if you're messing with Hemlock 1 and Hemlock 2, we have Aiken 1, we have Aiken 2, we have Wilson. We're good,
Okay.
we just have to adjust. And then it might be weird with our gaming schedule for that season, where we're gonna play all away games. And then guess what? We got this brand new field that have all these home games late in the season.
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's not.
But ideally, if we could get it for you in the spring, you could you could have your whole 2027 season on the Hemlock, the brand new. beautiful Hemlock.
It's supposed to be a mild winter, so.
Yeah.
As the administrator, I just want to caution everyone, because it was said earlier this evening, it's maintenance free, that probably is true. For the volunteers who regularly do maintenance, but, is there a specialized piece of equipment to remove weeds off of it? I would imagine those are not going out and breaking. So there are going to be pieces of equipment that are gonna be a cost to the municipality if you want the turf that we don't own now. Techniques we may have to learn, obviously you don't mow it. Then that's what we're used to doing. So there are things that have to be done that are gonna require specialized equipment, even the role.
Yeah, for sure, and the athletic association is in a position that we would certainly financially support, you know, those types of things, you know.
We just don't know what they cost yet, but we wanna build them into the budget.
Yeah, and you know, we're also in support of like, you know, there's grant opportunities or things like that, we're willing to help however we can, but if there's equipment or things that are needed to maintain those fields, like, we certainly would come up with funds to.
If you were pursuing grant opportunities, then you are talking like 28. Not 27. 27 would have to purely be like tax dollars that are
Yeah.
left over. Anything that you wanted to do and pursue a grant, that's gonna take a full year just of somebody digesting it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes another year after you get awarded before they even give you the money. So, you know, if you want it quickly, there is the tax revenue to get to that. If you want it eventually, then the grant revenue would be the stream to pursue, and you could even phase it.
Yeah, as far as the equipment, for sure, we'd be in a position that we would financially support that, or there was equipment that was needed to help maintain.
Well, I think, Mr. Panza, your committee should, do a deeper analysis of this and come to council with a recommendation on how to proceed through the budgeting process and further planning.
Yes, that's what, now, if we can get consensus of council that we would like to go with option number 2 and finding a way to.
Your option number 2 was to replace both fields in its entirety, so I think you meant option number 3.
Option number 3.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Anyways, and, you know, like, I was assured by some of the reps that they were very good at grading and like it would be the complete package. So let's in detail now, if we have consensus of council, then we can move forward and finalize the plans. I'll meet with the GAA and we'll work together and get official, I mean, Mr. Wilson, do you want, and I mean, if we ask for another estimate, they're only gonna give us another estimate. I mean, I don't know how to get the price. Like, I'm not sure what, other than putting it out to bid, I don't know, like.
Well, that is legally what we do have to do.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it's a multi-$100,000 project that has to be put out to bid. But to have the engineers build an estimate for the total budget all in, I can take the estimates that you have already received and have those worked on to kind of give an average cost, let's say, for the budget, along with any additionals like excavation, things like that, engineering that may have to take place, and come up with an all-in budget and present that as a written thing, like document for your subcommittee, for your next meeting. Well,
Well, no, that's
the
following
way,
meeting.
but
Her next meeting's August 17th, but
yeah,
we could, as long as we get the ball rolling and all the council is in agreement, we are going to try to get this done next year. I think everyone will be happy, and I think we can now go to these companies and get even more clarification to make sure the bid's going to include everything, like, you know, drainage, fencing. We'll get exact figures on and exactly what these bids will include.
Ron,
Here for budgeting.
no,
and
Ron,
then
hold on.
Bid and
Ron,
see if they actually come.
Ron, hold on a second.
Line with the
You-
estimate.
you can just let the administration handle
Yeah.
putting the specs together. But you don't need to go to any of the vendors, because we want to keep the process real pure.
Yes. We can go to, we need to get, go through the whole public bidding process and formally put out a bid package that people can, produce submissions to that are then opened at the designated date and time, and we award to the lowest responsible bid. So yeah, we don't need to go back and forth with individual companies seeking bids at this point.
I think you already
Okay,
answered.
so then. But let's do it then.
Mr. Wilson,
If the council agrees.
I think you already answered my question, Mr. Wilson. I think I got this straight now. For the 2027 budget. To get this in the 2027 budget, you can put the specs together without having an accepted bid.
Correct.
Listen, thank you.
So it wasn't about money.
That way,
It was
if we
about
know-
plans.
I'm just going to say a crazy number, but that way we know if it's $1 million, which it's not going to be. And you need to budget $1 million for 2027, we can put that in there and then we'll all figure out together how you're gonna get $1 million. But fortunately, it isn't $1 million.
What's prudent at this point is that we develop the specs and the scope of what we exactly need so that we can put together a bid package that reflects adequately what we want. And then that way we will also be able to build out a budget accordingly as well.
Mr. Wilson, how quickly do you think our engineering team could do the specs, look at the fields and get that to us?
I cannot answer that question on their behalf,
Okay.
but I'm happy to ask.
Thank you.
that question.
Question for GA, about how many participants do you have in, youth baseball?
Softball,
So, baseball and softball, yes.
just closed registration, fall.
Well, fall is usually lower, right?
Yeah, but I'm about to just look that with 75 boys for T-ball, AU, and 10U. And then 12 you have 17. Well, 9U, and then I don't know how many we have, so almost 100
In baseball,
for boys
That's just one baseball.
in the fall.
in the fall, and that's in the fall. That doesn't include a lot.
Girls is probably too close for that.
So about in the spring,
Close to 200.
200.
Yeah.
Great. Good, any other discussion on, Hemlock 1 and 2? Good.
I wanted to
Yeah.
throw one idea out, and I don't even know if Ron and even Mr. Wilson, if this is even feasible. You mentioned grants would have to be further out. Would there be the possibility that we could still put it in the budget for 2027? And have that option, but maybe start the process for applying for grants and see if there's, or just researching and seeing if there are grants out there that could make it a lot cheaper. Is there, do it in the spring of 28, so we would skip next year, but we have the money sitting there. So that we could do it early in 28 if there was grant funding, and then we maybe wouldn't have to spend as much. It was just an idea that came into my head. I don't know if that's still not enough time for grants, maybe.
That, you'd still have to think of phasing it.
Yeah,
So you'd have to do one field 1 year. The other field, you wouldn't be able to begin anything with it until after the, not only bid was awarded, but after the grant was awarded, but depending on the grant, until it was actually released.
yeah.
So it depends on the type of grant. So again, if you get awarded, let's say this year, and it doesn't get released till November of next year, you can't even begin anything till after that, including sometimes engineering.
And that assumes a timely and favorable response.
Yes.
You could be held in limbo for 1.5 years, only to get no response or less money than you owed to.
Alright, any more discussion? Okay, open it for public comment. Steve Monick, 102 East Mill Avenue. First off, Mr. Mayor, your discussion about apples and oranges between Hemlock and Point Park. Point Park seems to be getting held up to some extent with their plans. I see it as that could be a learning curve. Let them go through with their plans, argument, see what we need to do. On a different note, it seems like you guys already have your mind made up that this is gonna be done, but the biggest problem with those fields over there is drainage. It's never been addressed. It's not all that complicated. If you look after rain, the patterns of the water across the fields, there's no gutters between the yard drains that they have at Hem 2 are above the elevation of the asphalt. And there is no curb, so you're getting the water runoff, it's coming down past the bleachers, going straight through first base, through the pitcher's mound to third base. The other fields understand, CJ, Pete, there's a few of the coaches over there do a lot of work. This almost seems like it's cure, it's less work. I could go off on things that aren't done over there. And I've offered my time prior to the season starting, going and addressing all the coaches when they're over there to give tips on how to do some of the things, not dragging them out. He's done a great job getting them to not do that. But there is a lot of work created over there that could be handled after games. A lot of the raking, things like that. Well, I've spent 15 years over there as a coach. we had a rate, and then we moved up to hand drags. We didn't have carts and all this other stuff. You can't chicken scratch. You have to fill a hole in. I don't know if it's gonna be a crutch for people to lean on, if it's a wise investment. I'm not saying, I mean, it's great. It'd be great. But, Ron saying about giving up roads. That's, I don't know that the public has a whole lot of information on this topic. For the tax dollars to go. But there are simpler answers. To address some of the concerns, in water and erosions on that field. That aren't taken care of. I do believe we're in a different situation now, where things can move up. Never got, couldn't get dirt to put on 8 and 2 previously. Doesn't matter, it's 3 foot of fall, whatever you put on there is gonna wash down the sewer. Go in that detention pond. There's drainage issues with that field. For your playoffs, didn't those fields look pretty good. We addressed some of the stuff. I'm over there a lot doing it. You know that, CJ? But I don't know that we need to target. There's other issues to be addressed. Thank you.
And then public comment doesn't have to be related to the ball fields. Okay. All right. Mr. Hansa?
I have nothing further on the ball fields. I believe do we have to make an amendment to the agenda to vote on? Mr. Wilson had asked for an amendment to this agenda to vote on the topic.
Claire? Yeah. I don't think we need to amend the agenda. I think that's more of an administrative directive of the council. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to give us a heads up?
Yes, the Charter West Council of Governments was requested by Borough of Green Tree to apply for a grant through the county's CD 53.11 8 in order to administer and facilitate the demolition of 358 Mansfield Road. And the COG did put that out for bid and received 2 bids. The low bidder was $12,805, which is a company called J.R. Moran Contracting Incorporated, Moran, I would say. And so what I'm requesting is consent from council to send a letter to COG, letting them know that the borough has found that the bid is acceptable, and to request that COG initiate contract to execution as soon as feasible, so that property can be removed.
I believe in your email it said the bids came in lower than expected. The borough share of this project is $0.
That is correct.
Okay.
So beyond below de minimis under the law.
There.
So with consent of
Which I'm sure our fields will come in much lower than expected also, so we can put them on there.
They'll be just shy of de minimis.
But yeah.
Do I have a motion? It would just be a directive that we could, council would authorize the manager to move forward.
It would be a kind of
Recommendation.
Yeah, administrative directive.
yeah. So the president of council would say, unless there's an objection, Mr. Wilson, go ahead and do that.
So basically, we're agreeing.
Or not. And if someone said no, then.
Then it could-
yeah.
I mean, on the agenda.
So what, Mr. Gainer, what specifically do I need to say? You would just authorize the manager for, assuming that. Do I have to make, do I have to make a motion? So Mr. Wilson, I authorize you to move forward with, reaching out to the COG and moving forward with, demolition contract.
I shall do so.
Great.
Okay, Mr. Panza,
Yes.
would you like to make a motion to adjourn? Since you have done so for the past 20-some years.
Yes, I would like to make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Sure.